At 30,000 feet above the earth, danger doesn't announce itself with screams or chaos. It hides in silence, in nervous glances, in hands that tremble when no one seems to be watching. Every day, thousands of flights cross the skies carrying people toward reunions, new beginnings, and ordinary destinations. But on one routine flight from Denver to Los Angeles, a quiet signal went unnoticed by nearly everyone on board, everyone except those willing to pay attention. What followed was not just the rescue of a frightened teenager, but the unraveling of a crime hidden in plain sight, proving that sometimes the smallest actions can change the course of a life forever. Sam Grant walked the aisle of the Airbus A320 with practiced ease, his uniform flawless, his smile reassuring, and his movements calm enough to put even anxious flyers at ease. At 29, he had already built a reputation as one of the airline's most dependable flight attendants, known not just for professionalism, but for an uncanny ability to read people. Years of working the skies had taught him that danger rarely looked dramatic. It whispered. This flight from Denver to Los Angeles was supposed to be ordinary, yet from the moment boarding ended, Sam felt a quiet tension settle into his chest. His eyes kept drifting to row 17. By the window sat Mei Lin, a 15-year-old girl with jet-black hair pulled tight into a ponytail, her hoodie sleeves stretched over her hands as if she were trying to shrink into herself. Her posture was rigid, her gaze restless. Beside her sat Neil Carmichael, a sharply dressed man in his late 40s whose polished appearance, pressed blazer, expensive watch, calm smile masked something colder. His arm rested in a way that subtly boxed Mei in, and every time she shifted, his grip tightened just enough to remind her who was in control. Across the aisle, Elena Morales, a middle school teacher traveling to a family reunion, noticed the same things Sam did. Years in the classroom had trained her to recognize fear in teenagers, and May's body language screamed distress. As the plane climbed into the sky, three strangers, Sam, Elena, and May, were unknowingly bound together by a situation that was far more dangerous than anyone else on board could imagine. An hour into the flight, Sam pushed the beverage cart down the aisle, his routine smooth and automatic, but his attention sharpened as he reached row 17. May sat hunched forward, hands clenched tightly in her lap, her knuckles pale with tension. Neil ordered coffee in a voice that was polite but clipped, then added, without looking at her, "Juice for her." When Sam handed May the cup, her hand trembled so badly she nearly spilled it. Their eyes met for just a fraction of a second, but it was enough. In that fleeting glance, Sam saw fear, desperation, and urgency. Then May made a small, almost invisible movement, curling her thumb into her palm and folding her fingers over it. To anyone else, it might have looked like nervous fidgeting. To Sam, it was unmistakable, a distress signal taught in human trafficking awareness training. His heart pounded, but his face remained calm. Acting too fast could make things worse. From that moment on, Sam observed everything. May flinched whenever Neil brushed against her. She avoided eye contact. She barely moved, as though any wrong action might bring punishment. In the galley, Sam quietly alerted his colleague, Jamie Reyes, and then Captain Laura Hastings, who immediately notified authorities using the plane's secure communication system. Meanwhile, Elena created her own moment of confirmation by dropping a book near May's feet. As May bent to pick it up, Elena whispered, "Are you in trouble?" May hesitated, then gave the faintest nod. The danger was real. Worse still, Neil sensed the shift. Leaning toward May, he whispered a harsh threat that made Elena's blood run cold. Time was no longer on their side. The crew needed a plan, one that wouldn't alert Neil or put May at further risk. Captain Hastings approved a staged turbulence announcement, sending passengers fastening their seatbelts and focusing forward. Under the cover of routine procedure, Sam approached Neil with calm authority and explained that for safety reasons, he needed to move to another seat. Neil's polite mask slipped. His eyes narrowed, his voice turned sharp, and he refused. The tension in the cabin became electric. At that precise moment, Elena accidentally bumped into Neil, breaking his focus just long enough for Jamie to quietly signal May to follow Sam toward the back of the plane. As May slipped away, fear etched into her face. Realization hit Neil like a blow. He jumped to his feet, shouting, drawing gasps from nearby passengers. But before he could reach her, another crew member and a brave passenger intervened, restraining him as the captain's calm voice filled the cabin, urging everyone to remain seated. May collapsed into a jump seat near the galley, shaking but finally free from Neil's grip. Sam stayed beside her, offering quiet reassurance as the plane began its descent. What had started as a silent hand gesture was now unfolding into a full-scale rescue, and every second felt like an eternity. When the plane touched down in Los Angeles, law enforcement officers were already waiting on the tarmac. Neil Carmichael was escorted off the aircraft in handcuffs, still shouting threats that echoed through the cabin. May, wrapped in a blanket and surrounded by officers, learned that she had been reported missing days earlier. Moments later, she was reunited with her parents, their tearful embrace marking the end of her nightmare. In the weeks that followed, the story made headlines across the country. Sam, Elena, and the flight crew were praised as heroes, but each of them deflected the attention, insisting that awareness and training, not bravery, had saved a life. Airlines began strengthening their trafficking awareness programs, and the incident sparked a broader conversation about recognizing silent warning signs. Together, Sam, Elena, and Captain Hastings helped establish Flight for Freedom, an organization dedicated to preventing trafficking through education and vigilance. May, supported by her family and counselors, later became its youngest ambassador, using her voice to help others escape the silence she once endured. What began as an ordinary flight became a powerful reminder that paying attention, trusting instinct, and choosing to act, no matter how small the action, can transform fear into hope and save a life when it matters most.